How do I avoid making a fool of myself in an online lesson? Hello guys, I am Jordan Macias, the teacher of English, and I decided to record this video to explain some details and aspects on how to react to online lessons.
Considerations to have when facing a virtual class need to be guided through the concepts of concentration, community, and to the considerations related to resources and software. Concentration firstly means here that at all times we need to be in the online class, doing some activities or interacting with participants through a screen. Therefore, concentration is something that at times could be a little bit difficult to keep up, in terms of the community, because so even though you are on the screen, you are also interacting. So the consideration to community is also very important. What do we mean here? Is that at all times consider you are in front of a camera if you haven't muted. So in that way you stop eating in front of the camera, or you don't have the inconveniences like this senator that she was drinking in front of a session at the Congress or Senate. I don't remember the story, but the consideration here is to keep up with the concentration of everybody, considering everybody as a full community of learning. In order to interact properly in this virtual community before entering the class or before starting any period of classes, it is good that you make sure all the resources that you need are available. So, for example, if the class is going to have some online activity, like it's going to be the case of English, you might need a computer in advance, because maybe the cell phone is not going to be enough. So you need to think of resources and softwares as well. Let's go through a set of more detailed tips in relation to the same topic. So some of the first guidelines that I would recommend is that you enter the class with the microphone off. Some teachers or some professors may not configure this option in the settings in advance. So make sure you are off, and that you are off whenever you enter the room on or when you are not speaking. Why? Because sometimes you have background noise that could be destructive to the class, or you can have pets. Like in my case, I have Dulce, and Dulce will definitely come over eventually just to bother and to laugh with us a little bit. Okay, so be aware of the fact that the microphone needs to have thoughts. The second thing that I would recommend is that you also consider muting your video camera, because sometimes we forget we are in front of the camera and we can do things that might not look good in front of an audience, right? But here goes the thing. In a virtual also interaction, to have a discussion like a plenary with the faces of everybody, and everybody having the awareness that you are in front of them, or that they are also being seen, and that you are seeing people, gives you the sensation of further interaction. So that gives it more naturality to the class. So the video shouldn't be always off, but consider that when you don't need it, or when you're going to do something that is not for all the audience to see, turn it off. The third thing is that sometimes connections are not the best. I have learned that some of my students now are in areas where the internet connection is not constant, or where they cannot reach all the platform because of the requirements in terms of software. So to avoid any problems of disturbance while during the class, make sure all the applications of the computer are off. So if you have YouTube on, better you go off YouTube, so you don't have a lot of memory being used, and you don't have any inconveniences in the quality of the image, in the quality of the audio, or whatever. So also some things and to consider is that maybe if you have a like a conversation class, we're going to have some of them, it might be good to think of having a headset and a microphone. So it would improve communication through through the channels. And also remember that the exchange in this online context is a little bit different. So you need to make sure, for example, that if you need to make an exchange, or if you want to give an opinion, if you want to say something, raise your hand. You can raise your hand and ask any question. You can also use some buttons at the lower part of your screen. You're gonna see them around there, and it's like it's a little hand that you can use, and you can always raise your hand. And whenever you're finished talking, please make sure all the rest of the people know you finished with your presentation, with your argumentation. So you can say phrases like, okay, that's it, or I'm done, or that's it for now, or thank you very much. And you let another speaker speak. If you want to ask, as I told you, raise your hand or raise the hand on the reaction box, or you can always use the chat box. You need to activate the chat box. So the chat box, you will find it also in the lower part or in the menu of the screen or where you see yourself. And you can say activate chat or chat directly, and you can chat with different people or you can chat directly to me. All right? Well, and finally, consider the lightning. Be aware that lightning is necessary for transmission of a good video quality. So consider also the upper lighting, left and right lighting, and also consider your backgrounds. If you have something distracting at the back, might not be the best and suitable for you. So see this. There is a big difference in the image. All right? And whenever you finish the class, sign out at the end of the class. Say, finalizar. Always do that. And don't forget that clothes are not optional. So make sure you're dressed whenever you're facing the camera. As a whole, etiquette in online education is for people to make the most of their virtual learning experience. And in order to do that, we need to consider community aspects. We also need to consider the resources and the softwares we're using, and fundamentally the concentration of everybody in the virtual community. That's it about this topic, guys.